So in today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys a look at the 10 major things that are going to be coming in 2024/2025 for artificial intelligence. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but there will be timestamps so you can take a look at everything that is going to be released, and the future is most certainly exciting. So let's not waste any more time. So one of the first things that is basically here is, of course, agents. Now, the video you're currently seeing behind you is a video that I recently made on Google's agents. Now, this is why the text right here isn't, I guess you could say, synced up, is because what Google did and what many other companies are trying to pivot to in late 2024 and in 2025 is, of course, agents. Now, agents essentially just refers to, I guess you could say, AI systems that are able to, I guess you could say, kind of do whatever they want and go out and accomplish a kind of task that the person has set out for them. And I think this is going to be one of the most pivotal moments that does happen in AI, because this is going to be one of the moments that actually impacts you. Now, the reason this is going to actually impact us, and the reason you're going to truly feel this, is because, as you can see in Google's demo, if I pause it right here, you can see that they're trying to basically hit every single agent aspect that there pretty much is going to be in Google, since they've decided to, I guess you could say, kind of call the red flag. You can see right here that they've got customer agents, employee agents, creative agents, data agents, code agents, and security agents. And this video, there's basically quite a lot of different features. It's a 50-minute video where I've kind of cut the long drawn out Google, I guess you could say, announcement into a shorter video about where they talk about, employee agents. And this is going to be really game changing, because it's a complete difference in how we currently use AI systems. Currently, we use AI systems in the general sense that, we talk to these AI systems and we interface with them in a chat interface. And with this one, we're going to simply ask the AI system to do something, outline some parameters, and then the AI system is going to be able to go ahead and accomplish those tasks. And that is why I think this is going to be probably one of the most pivotal moments. Now, this is still pretty early in its stages. Like, currently we're still in a very, I guess you could say, basic area for the agents, and the current demos that I'm seeing from some of the top labs, they don't seem too impressive. So it seems like there is a breakthrough that is, probably needed. But I think whenever this breakthrough does happen, because some of the larger companies are really working on this, I'm pretty sure this is going to be crazy. Now, one of the things is that OpenAI have actually spoken about this. You can see that OpenAI have shifted its battleground to software that operates devices and that automates tasks. So essentially, you can see right here, it says OpenAI is developing a form of agent software to automate complex tasks by effectively taking over a customer's device. The customer could then ask the ChatGPT agent to transfer data from a document to a spreadsheet for analysis, for instance, or to just completely do random different things, or to fill out a spreadsheet. And I think, like I said already, this is going to be one of the main things that really changes the game. And as you know, OpenAI have a very long history of releasing very good products. So whatever agent they are working on, apparently they're working on 2 agents, computer using agents, and these agents can effectively take over a user's device to perform tasks such as transferring data from a document to a spreadsheet, filling out expense reports, and entering them into accounting software. And these tasks involve actions like, clicks, cursor movements, and text typing, mimicking basically human interactions with different applications. And of course, secondly, other than the computer agents, okay, and this is basically just summarized from this article, we have web-based agents. And these web-based agents are going to handle tasks that are primarily conducted online. And they can gather public data about companies, create travel itineraries within the budget, book flight tickets. They can utilize LLMs and perform those really cool tasks. So basically what we have here is, I guess you could say, a really interesting bit. Now, Sam Altman did actually talk about this, on about how agents are going to be pretty incredible. This is from an interview that he did earlier this year with Bill Gates. It was one that I guess a lot of people did miss, because Bill Gates doesn't really have a large YouTube presence, but it was one that I managed to get a small audio snippet from where Sam Altman actually speaks about the future of agents and exactly what is going to happen.
Creatively new things. And we're really seeing that. And so as we look And we look at these next steps of things that can do a more complete task. You can like imagine a little agent that you can say, go write this whole program for me. I'll ask you a few questions along the way, but it won't just be writing a few functions at a time. That'll enable a bunch of new stuff. And then again, it'll do even more complex stuff. Someday, maybe there's an AI where you can say, go start and run this company for me. And then someday there's maybe an AI where you can say, like, go discover new physics. And it's the stuff that we're seeing now. It's very exciting and wonderful, but I think it's worth always putting it in context of this technology that, at least for the next 5 or 10 years, will be on a very steep improvement curve. These are the stupidest the models will ever be. But coding is probably the single area from a productivity gain we're most excited about today. Massively deployed and at scaled usage at this point. Healthcare and education are two things that are coming up that curve.
So you could hear that he was basically saying that it's going to be a steep improvement for agents because it's of course something that they haven't really worked on, but I guess agents are going to be a thing where you can say, hey, look, I need you to go create this company for me. I need you to go run this business for me. I need you to go make this PowerPoint presentation, go do all of my homework or whatever. Of course, at that time, I guarantee there's going to be a different kind of homework. But the point here is that you can see that agents are truly going to be that breakthrough moment. And I do think that a lot of companies are working on this. Now, I think the breakthrough is likely to come in potentially, maybe late 2024 to early 2025. But I do think that agents is something that, Google, as you've seen, are working on and OpenAI are working on because it's very, very, very important. Now, in addition, Google have actually stated that this is what they're working on, and this is a clip of Demis Hassabis, the leader of Google's DeepMind, which is their AI division, and he speaks about how they're going to develop these kinds of agents.
I'm also really excited about the next stage of these large general models. I think the next things we're going to see perhaps this year, perhaps next year, is more agent-like behavior. So systems that are able not only to just answer questions for you, but actually plan and act in the world and solve goals. And I think those are the things that will make these systems sort of the next level of usefulness in terms of being a useful everyday assistant. And again, that's bringing back in some of our work we did years ago with gaming, which were all agent systems, achieving certain goals and objectives, bringing that kind of work and marrying that together with the modern large multimodal model work.
So yeah, there's Demis Hassabis talking about the future of agents, and I think he's very much so right in the fact that that is going to bring things to a completely another level, and it's going to be completely different because this is where you're going to unlock real value, because a lot of people, I wouldn't say they don't use AI systems, but it's going to be interesting to see how, using those AI systems is, vastly different than the way we interact with them now. So I think that is going to be super fascinating. Now, here we are for the next part, okay? And the next part, of course, is voice assistants. Now, many of you may have seen the new OpenAI demo, and this is, of course, what we're going to be seeing a lot more of from the top frontier AI labs in 2024 and of course early 2025. Now there's actually a lot to discuss here because voice assistants might not be what you guys think. So essentially in this demo here, we actually did get to see a huge variety of different voice assistants, and these voice assistants were really good because compared to the previous ones that we've had before like Siri, they completely blow everything out of the water. So this is a short GPT-4o demo, and then I'm going to show you guys another demo that most people did actually miss from another top frontier company that I guess you could say is working on something very similar to this.
Hey, ChatGPT, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Pretty good.
What's up?
So my friend Barrett here, he's been having trouble sleeping lately. And I want you to tell him a bedtime story about robots and love.
Oh, a bedtime story about robots and love? I got you covered. Gather round, Barrett. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte. Byte was a curious robot, always exploring.
You started this story, but I want a little bit more emotion in your voice, a little bit more drama.
Got it. Let's add some drama. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte.
No, ChatGPT. I really want maximal emotion, like maximal expressiveness, much more than you were doing before.
Understood. Let's amplify the drama. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte. Byte
Actually, can
was
you do this in a robotic voice now?
initiating dramatic robotic voice. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte. Byte was a curious robot, always exploring new
So I'm seeing
circuits.
Barrett here calm down a little bit. Can you end the story, but do it in a singing voice?
And so Byte found another robot friend, and they lived circuitly ever after.
Thank you so much.
I definitely feel a lot more relaxed.
So now the reason voice assistants are going to be pretty crazy, and the reason like a lot more people are going to be using them, is because we've already seen the fact that the voice assistants are serving a pretty huge market. If you remember the Rabbit R1 device, that was, I guess you could say, a voice assistant that was much better than anything else at the time. And although many people are stating that it's just a wrapper product or yada yada yada, I think the point here is that voice assistants are truly the way that we are going to interact with AI, because it just feels the most natural. When I'm talking to GPT-4o, or when I'm talking to, you know, another person, I'm really trying to feel the same way and the same kind of fluidity. And that's what most people use. Of course, there are going to be some scenarios where you just simply want to, you know, talk with a large language model or an AI system and get out, you know, lots of text. But I think that for the vast majority of people on a day-to-day basis, you know, hands-free, being able to just talk with your AI about whatever topic it may be, this is going to be the large majority of where people are, you know, finding real use for these systems. Okay, and this also is great because for those who aren't technologically advanced, I guess you could say this is going to be a much easier way for them to interact with the software. Now, another thing that we do have is Google's Project Astra. So this is the vision for Google's future of AI assistants, and this is quite similar to the recent thing that we just saw, but it's Google's very own interesting way of doing their voice assistants. And this is likely to be released in the coming months, although Google haven't really shipped anything that they said they were going to ship. But this is, of course, something that they're still working on, and this demo is giving us an insight to where things are going to head. So this should be giving you guys some creative ideas for how the interaction and the ecosystem around AIs is going to change.
Okay, let's do some tests. Tell me when you see something that makes sound.
I see a speaker, which makes sound.
What is that part of the speaker called?
That is the tweeter. It produces high-frequency sounds.
Give me a creative alliteration about these.
Creative crayons color cheerfully. They certainly craft colorful creations.
What does that part of the code do?
This code defines encryption and decryption functions. It seems to use AES-CBC encryption to encode and decode data based on a key and an initialization vector, IV.
That's right. What neighborhood do you think I'm in?
This appears to be the King's Cross area of London. It is known for its railway station and transportation connections.
Do you remember where you saw my glasses?
Yes, I do. Your glasses were on the desk near a red apple.
What can I add here to make this system faster?
Adding a cache between the server and database could improve speed.
What does this remind you of?
Schrodinger's cat.
All right, give me a band name for this duo.
Golden Stripes.
Nice. Thanks, Gemini.
So yeah, that is Google's aim at the voice assistants, and I think voice assistants have another area in which they're going to be, you know, moving forward, because there are other companies that have had a market share, and let me just put something on the screen, and that is, of course, Amazon. So Amazon, of course, are planning to give Alexa an overhaul and a monthly subscription price. So Amazon is making significant upgrades to Alexa by integrating large language models and generative AI capabilities. Amazon is actually developing a new version of Alexa powered by custom-built LLMs optimized for voice interactions. And this LLM, whichever it's going to be based on, I think it most likely will be Claude 3, are going to enable more natural conversation interactions with a lecturer. And some key enhancements include conversation, a visual wake-up word, conversational speech recognition, and expressive text-to-speech. So this is going to be another step in terms of integrating these AI systems with the wider world. And we know that there are already tons of people who already have these devices in their homes that they could literally just receive the software update, and then boom, you now have millions of users who are going to be interacting with voice assistants that are actually really useful. So it's going to be interesting to see what Amazon does, and I'm sure that their partnership with Anthropic is going to be a major part of that. Now, like I said it before, one of the things that I do think would be surprising is if Google didn't make an announcement regarding their home devices. I'm not sure of the popularity of these. I know that most people do have an Alexa. I've never really heard anyone talking about their Google device, but I'm pretty sure it would sell a lot more devices if you could just have a home device or a physical device where you could just ask it simple questions and it could respond very easily. I know that's something that I would certainly be using. So the next thing that is on the list for AI at number 3 is of course true multimodality. So essentially any to any, and this is a screenshot from Nvidia's recent conference, but it gives us a glimpse into the future of how multimodal systems are truly going to work. Any kind of input that you can think of is going to be used, and then of course you're going to be able to put that into any other kind of, I guess you could say, input slash output. And this multimodality, this true multimodality, is in some ways already here and will be further expanded upon. So one of the ways that most people didn't even realize, and this is something that I actually saw because I was paying attention and most people didn't realize, but that when GPT-4o was released, they released this webpage, okay? And there were an exploration of different capabilities. And in the capabilities section, there were a bunch of different, things that showed us that GPT-4o was and is a completely multimodal model. That's why they called it GPT-4o Omni. And there were many different things that they just didn't showcase in the demo that proved to us that this is the future of AI, because it's actually a completely multimodal model, natively built. It's not like it's a, large language model or something like that. It's completely a natively multimodal model. So I'm going to show you guys quickly what I mean by this. So if you go onto the GPT-4o webpage, and if you scroll down, there's this section right here. This section is called an exploration of capabilities. You can see that this is visual. Then you can see that this is poster creation. And you can see it's able to combine different things. You can see we have here this photo character. You can see turning photos into different things. You can see concrete poetry. You're able to turn this into words. And I think you're also able to turn this into a badge. You're also able to see lecture summarization. So this shows you that you've got a 45-minute video and it's able to take the input from that. So remember, this is true multimodality. Meeting notes with multiple speakers. It's able to take in audio. You can see right there. There was also 3D objects synthesis. So you can see right here, it's able to generate a 3D object and able to rotate that in real time, 3D reconstruction. So this is something that is truly going to change everything, because we have a situation where there's going to be true multimodality, which means the only limits that you're truly going to be thinking about are ones in your head. And in addition to that, the multimodality aspect has been there with Google's recent AI Studio. So if you don't know, Google have released their AI Studio, and in there, you can actually upload audio, you can upload images, and you can upload videos up to an hour long. So it's pretty crazy what you can truly do with true multimodality, because currently with Google's new studio, it's not out for everyone, although it's out for most people, but still when I'm trying to use it, it's still pretty buggy. So it's not something that I've actually been able to use into my workflow just yet. But true multimodality, I do think is going to change a lot of things, because whilst images and text are good, videos and audio are going to compete the entire equation. Then what we have is very interesting. We have the personalization of these models. So basically, there is a feature that is only available to a select few accounts in select few regions, namely USA being one of them, and that is of course the personalization feature. So some in the later months, I'm sure that personalization is going to be rolled out to Europe and the rest of the UK, and I'm sure that when it does, it's going to increase the, I guess you could say, the usability of these models, because personalization is something that changes the game. You don't need to remind it all the things you've done before. You don't need to remind it all of your preferences, and it completely knows all the facts that you want it to know about you that make it a lot more easier to use on a day-to-day basis. Like, for example, I was trying to ask it a question, okay? And I was like, okay, what is the best restaurant, or what type of food should I eat today? And you have to remember that when you open a new chat with ChatGPT or any AI system, it doesn't have this area of memory, which means it's only data point that it has is that a human wants to eat some kind of food. It doesn't have your age, it doesn't have your location, it doesn't know what you like to eat, it doesn't know if you're allergic to anything. All it knows is that a human wants to eat food. So when you give it that command, it's going to be able to give you a very broad answer that's very vague, that can satisfy all of those things. However, if you're like, okay, I'm a male, I go to the gym, I'm very active, I'm trying to get lean, it might suggest, here's some protein, especially if you like a sweet taste, try this with honey, like some beef on, like, it will try to suggest things that actually are useful for you, and that's going to give a huge boost in terms of the usability, because the more data you give these models, the better they are. And that's something that I've known in my personal experiences. When I can't get these models to do something right, I just give it more and more context, and the more context I give it, the better the responses from these models are. And here you can see Sam Altman and Bill Gates actually speaking about this.
Customizability and personalization will also be very important. People want very different things out of GPT-4, different styles, different sets of assumptions. We'll make all that possible. And then also the ability to have it use your own data. So the ability to know about you, your email, your calendar, how you like appointments booked, connected to other outside data sources, all of that. Those will be some of the most important areas.
So yeah, that's Sam Altman talking about how those are some of the most important areas for the AI systems. And of course, the next thing that we do have, and this is actually point number 5, although it does say number 4, is of course the reasoning capabilities and the reliability of the model. That just means the model doesn't make mistakes, and the model is a lot smarter.
We'll be able to push that much further, but maybe the most important areas of progress will be around reasoning ability. Right now, GPT-4 can reason in only extremely limited ways, and also reliability. If you ask GPT-4 most questions 10,000 times, one of those 10,000 is probably pretty good, but it doesn't always know which one. And you'd like to get the best response of 10,000 each time. So that'll be that increase in reliability will be important.
And so yeah, Sam Altman says reliability and reasoning ability is going to be pretty important. Now, Sam Altman has spoken about this, and if you don't know what he means by that, he basically just means that the model is just going to really understand truly what you want, and it's never going to make a mistake again. I wouldn't say never, because I think that's pretty hard to say, but it's pretty much going to be not as much as it does right now. So he talks about this, and I've included this clip here because he basically says how GPT-4 is quite stupid and it's quite dumb, and that's to point out the reasoning capabilities of the model are pretty limited. And if you don't know what I mean, if you want to take a quick demo, you can there was a question that people used to ask to GPT-4, and the question that they used to ask it was like, if someone moved something from one bag to another, but the bags were transparent, could you see what's inside? And the model doesn't realize that the bags are transparent, and that's just basically part of its reasoning capability to be like, wait a minute, the bags are transparent, I should be able to see exactly what's inside. But it can't. So things like that, you might not use it on a day-to-day basis if you're using it to write essays, but an increased reasoning capability means that there's going to be a lot more wide applications, which means it's going to impact a lot more industries. So here's where Sam Altman talks about the fact that GPT-4 is quite dumb.
This sounds like a cop-out answer, but I think the most important thing about GPT-5 or whatever we call that is just that it's going to be smarter. And this sounds like a dodge, but I think that's among the most remarkable facts in human history, that we can just do something and we can say right now with a high degree of scientific certainty, GPT-5 is going to be a lot smarter than GPT-4. GPT-6 is going to be a lot smarter than GPT-5. And we are not near the top of this curve, and we kind of know what to do. And this is not like it's going to get better in one area. This is not like we're going to, It's not that it's always going to get better at this eval or this subject or this modality. It's just going to be smarter in the general sense. And I think the gravity of that statement is still like underrated.
Like I said before, the gravity is definitely going to be underrated because of the vastly smarter model. We've seen what the capabilities are. The jump from GPT 3.5 to 4 meant that people could actually use GPT-4 for, certain things like code, certain things like writing, a lot more, I guess you could say things that, a lot more meaningful. And there are just a lot more tasks that you can do. And of course, this is where he talks about the fact that GPT-4
OpenAI
is quite
phenomenal. ChatGPT is phenomenal. Everything else, all the other models are phenomenal. You burned $520 million of cash last year. That doesn't concern you in terms of thinking about the economic model of how do you actually, where's going to be the monetization source?
Well, first of all, that's nice of you to say, but ChatGPT is not phenomenal. Like ChatGPT is mildly embarrassing at best. GPT-4 is the dumbest model any of you will ever have to use again by a lot. But it's like important to ship early and often.
So yeah, pay attention to what he said there. It's going to be the dumbest model you have to use for a while by a lot. So I think that's going to be something that's really, really, really important. Now, coming in at number 6 is, of course, custom trained models. So here what you can see is a model that is trained for law, and you can see that it's going against GPT-4. So basically, the company Harvey developed a partnership with OpenAI, and they developed a custom case law model. So basically, they have foundational models and they use public APIs, and they attempted to fine-tune foundation models using public APIs and retrieval augmented generation systems, but these systems weren't really good because they needed deep domain knowledge and sophisticated reasoning. And then they decided to collaborate and partner with OpenAI to train a model specifically for legal case law research. And this involved integrating a vast amount of legal data and domain specific knowledge into the base models. And then they added case law from Delaware and gradually expanded to include the entire corpus of the US case law, and this added around 10 billion tokens worth of legal data to the model. So this was a highly collaborative effort from OpenAI with lawyers explaining the intricacies of case law research and AI researchers demonstrating model capabilities. And this is where OpenAI provided insights into the technical aspects and adjustments needed to refine the model. So the custom trained model can handle tasks that require detailed legal reasoning and the ability to draw from extensive legal knowledge. And it's capable of generating comprehensive answers to complex legal queries and drafting documents. And one of the main improvements is that this model's ability to reduce hallucinations and ensure that every statement is backed by cited case law. And this makes the outputs from this model highly reliable and useful for legal professionals who need accurate references. So overall, what we can see here is the fact that in the future, we're going to have models that are custom trained for specific use cases, and law is going to be one of them. So whilst yes, GPT-4 can be used to, argue certain things, I think it shows here that when you have a custom trained model, the use cases go up a significant amount. And that is something that we're probably going to see a lot more often. Now, next is something that I think we are definitely likely to see because the rate of improvement here has been very, very interesting. So this is healthcare and AI, and there are a few companies that have been silently working behind the scenes to, I guess you could say, develop certain healthcare products that are going to be ready very, very soon. And I think they're going to take advantage of these new AI systems, and it's going to be a really interesting thing. Currently, what you're looking at is, of course, the benchmarks on the MedQA, the medical question and answering QA, and you can see right here that GPT-4 has been surpassed by Google Gemini's MedGemini, a specialized version for answering medical questions. So essentially, it's a family of AI models fine-tuned specifically for multimodal medical applications. And those models are capable of understanding and analyzing complex medical data, including text, images, videos, and electronic health records. Like I said, the multimodal capabilities of Gemini mean that these models are now able to digest a variety of different information and do advanced reasoning on it. And it's shown remarkable performance, achieving state-of-the-art accuracy of 91.1% on the MedQA benchmark, which is of course used for evaluating medical knowledge, similar to the US medical licensing exam. And like I said, it's not just research. Google, Research, and Fitbit are actually building personal health LLMs to offer personalized coaching and recommendations through a mobile app. So leveraging Google's family of generative AI models in Gemini and sufficient health data from Fitbit and Pixel devices, this initiative aims to provide tailored guidance based on individual health and fitness objectives. So Google have just recently announced that they are working on this and they are actively trying to bring this to Fitbit, and not just Google, but Apple. Apple plans an AI-powered health coaching service, a mood tracker, and iPad health app. So this is the move part of iPhone's makers push into health services. So this is going to be something that is planned for iOS 17. Maybe we're going to get an announcement at Apple's new, not conference, but I think it will be interesting to see what actually happens, because this is something that I think is very, very underrated. And this is definitely going to impact healthcare in a very positive way, because it's going to bring down, I guess you could say, access to high quality information. Next, of course, we have something that is the autonomous expansion. So if you don't know, autonomous cars are a real thing, and they're basically cars that drive without you. They don't need a driver, and you can sit in the passenger seat and, you know, get taken to your destination. It's really weird, but it actually makes a lot of sense. So essentially what you're looking at here is a few tweets from people that have, you know, been firsthand in these Waymos. So you can see right here, this person says, so Waymo is actually amazing, using it in SF for every trip now, and it's just rock solid. On a ride now, and it just navigated a bunch of really odd and expected on-street nonsense with confidence and ease. And someone says, I now prefer self-driving Waymos over Ubers. I actually feel safer. And someone said, I just tried Waymo's self-driving taxis. It's more comfortable than taking an Uber. AI is changing everything, even for taxi and Uber. And the thing is that this is expanding. This kind of stuff is going to be expanding into many different areas. And eventually, I do think that it's probably going to be across the US. But you can see here that it says, later this year, Waymo will be offering rides to the public in 4 major cities. Starting tomorrow, March 14th, our fully autonomous ride-hailing service will be available to select members of the public in Los Angeles. And after starting initial rider-only testing in Austin last week, we plan to offer Waymo One to Austinites later this year. So that is pretty crazy. They are going to be expanding this, and we're likely to see a lot more of the user feedback from this. And I think with some of the other announcements, especially going on in the UK as well, with the fact that the Automated Vehicles Act is now law, it means that self-driving vehicles could be on British roads in just 2 years. And it's going to be a very, very interesting time. Now, with that, we have point number 9. Now, what else is coming? And this is customer service AI. So if you're someone that interacts with the business, which is all of us, anytime you have to speak to customer service, there is usually some tedious interaction, but that's about to change. Take a look at Google's customer service AI that's changing the game.
Behind the scenes, Symbol Fashion's customer agent is using Google Cloud's full suite of AI capabilities to offer customized support interactions, facilitate transactions like purchases and returns, and ensure that I'm receiving the most up-to-date information in real time. I'm so close to having this shirt for the concert. Let's give the store a call.
Hi there. This is the Symbol Fashion customer agent at South Las Vegas Boulevard. Am I speaking with Amanda?
Yes, this is Amanda.
Great. Thanks for reaching out, Amanda. I see you had a session on another device. I've sent you an SMS message with a link to our live chat companion. If you would like to switch to chat, please click the link. How can I help you today?
I'd like to purchase the shirt in my cart with the card I have on file.
Absolutely. I see you're also a Symbol Fashion Rewards member. Looks like you have a 20% off voucher available to use. Would you like to apply it to this purchase?
Yes, please. That would be great.
The shirt you're purchasing goes well with these items, also available for pickup in your preferred size. Would any of these be interesting to you?
Absolutely. Please add the white shirt and the boots to my cart.
Great. Your total is $203.73. Okay to proceed with the card on file?
Yes.
Your purchase is confirmed. Do you need anything else today?
No, I'm all set. Thank you. Incredible.
Thank you for shopping with Symbol Fashion. You'll get a text when the items are ready for you.
In less than 5 minutes, I was able to find and order the shirt I wanted and an outfit to match. I'm ready for the concert. Back to you, Thomas.
So you can see right there that that is truly going to change the game, and I think it's real, and in the sense that like this is going to be something that actually helps companies out, because you know customer service is just tedious. You got people always complaining, people not being able to find stuff, and I think AI's ability to rapidly access information, be able to be patient, not get annoyed if someone raises their voice. I think this is going to be an area that humans don't even want to do anyways. So this is going to be something that's really impressive. Now, of course, with customer service AI, you do have other areas here, and Wendy's has been actually, I guess you could say, testing this out. I've shown this a couple of times, but this is very relevant because I think that more drive-thrus are probably going to use this stuff, provided it's effective as it's shown here.
Welcome to Wendy's. What would you like?
Can I have a chocolate frosty?
Which size for the chocolate frosty?
Medium.
Can I get you anything else today?
No, thank you.
Great. Please pull up to the next window.
So yeah, you can see the differences in how things are going to go, and I think this would be really good because I've seen too many videos of people taking the mickey out of people in drive-thrus, and it's quite frustrating because some people just want to work their jobs and people are like trying to make funny content out of them. So if we just had AI in this position that could speak all the languages, understand exactly what you said, be completely patient, I think that that's going to be something that's really, really cool. Now, another thing that we do have, and coming in at point number 10, last but not least, is of course even better robots. So what you're currently looking at is Boston Dynamics' new Atlas, which is pretty incredible. We haven't seen a full demo yet, but from what they've shown us that they are about to embark on a new humanoid robotics run that if this robot can move anything like their old Atlas, I think people are going to be in for a real surprise on how this robot is going to move, considering it's completely electric, and I don't think it's hydraulic based like the previous one. So we're about to get a huge new, I guess you could say, not robotics boom, but like a huge focus on robotics, because robots have been, I guess, just going through an incredible period of growth. And you can see here that even recently there was this robot here at 1x speed being able to do just incredible tasks that I still struggle to believe that this is a robot with no teleoperation. So it's incredible at what some of the companies around the world are being able to do with robotics. So I think, later on this year or even in 2025, there's going to be a few things that show us that, robots are going to be doing a lot more different tasks. And this is especially combined with the fact that you can see right down here, these things are combined with some of the multimodal AIs and of course these LLMs integrated with them. So it's going to be a very interesting time to see what kind of things we do get with robots, and not just the fact that this is like 1x speed, no teleoperation, which is just genuinely mind-blowing that a robot is able to just do this, because it now means, in the future when, people are talking about robots doing a lot of household tasks and things like this. And remember guys, this is no teleoperation, which means there's no human in another room that's controlling this. This is a robot completely autonomously doing this based on a set task. And I think you guys need to also take a look at the fact that China has been developing a ton of humanoid robots. This is only like half of them. And so far, the demos that we've seen, the infrastructure that they're building, everything is being, put in towards humanoid robotics and AI. And I think China definitely wants to be a leader in that space because they understand the economic value. And even recently, we got a Unitary G1, which is an AI agent avatar as described, and it's a humanoid robot that is only $16,000, which means the decreasing cost of these robots means that researchers can afford to purchase these systems and apply their research techniques on these systems, because a lot of the times the problem is that these robots are pretty expensive, especially some of the cool ones that you're seeing in these demos. They're like $250,000 to $500,000, and I mean, if you're a researcher at a university, it can be pretty impractical to just buy one so that you can do some research on it. But if we can get these things down with economies of scale, it could open up a huge area for where we're seeing rapid progress on these devices. So that was the 10 things that I think are going to be coming in the next 365 days for AI/robotics/ the singularity. And those are going to be things that you truly do see here on this channel. If there was anything I did miss, don't forget to leave a like down below. Don't forget to comment down below and let me know what thing you are most excited for, because I would love to know.